Recently, I played through Dead Space with the help of some friends to make us whole. The following is a completely accurate summary of the campaign. Trust me. The game begins with Isaac being an insufferable passenger because he'd been listening to a recording of his future dead girlfriend out loud on repeat this entire trip. We drop out of shock space, which is coincidentally what I call my prostate, and then crash land on the Ishimura, but you know what they say about any landing you can walk away from. They say, why does Harrison Ford still have a pilot's license? Cannon Fodder says her ankle might be broken, but like, how? I watched the crash, her legs didn't do anything erratic. I think she's just faking it to get out of doing work. Isaac puts on his helmet because he's the only one who actually remembered to bring one on their trip to fucking space, and we got ourselves signed into local Wi-Fi because otherwise we wouldn't be able to keep up with whatever new train wreck is going on with Twitter. We check what's fucked up with the ship, and it turns out it's pretty much everything, but the good news is that we're an engineer, so we can fix that because it's literally our job. Isaac calmly watches as his friends start getting eviscerated, so we casually walk to an elevator that we take until someone wants to get on. But we're not really fans of sharing an enclosed space with someone we don't really know, and luckily the elevator agrees with us, so it continues on without them. We assemble our futuristic nail gun and brace ourselves for the comments on this video that are going to correct me that it's actually some kind of mining tool and not a nail gun because they think nitpicking specific instances of incorrect information in a video about lying to the audience makes them sound smart, and then casually watch a guy get eviscerated because there's definitely nothing we could have done to save him from this. We got our second hint to cut off the limbs, and then listen to the Blithering Idiot and the Wizard formulate a plan while they somehow look into this video call from a different angle than we can clearly see them holding it at. After turning on the censored mode for this game, not because we're worried about YouTube demonetizing the video or anything, but because it's really funny, especially because it doesn't affect actual gameplay, we find a free arm that we can have for lunch later and unlock the ability to slow things down, which will come in handy later when Isaac meets up with his future dead girlfriend that he hasn't seen in 6 months, if you know what I mean. I mean that he's a premature ejaculator. After replacing the tram with absolutely no problems whatsoever, we get our third hint to cut off the limbs and save our game, which brings up the question, what are these things? Even the wiki isn't sure. Like, is Isaac just taking selfies of these things every time he saves to prove that he's making progress? Is he keeping a diary? Does this line of questioning even fucking matter at all? I need to know! We stomp apart some corpses in a bathroom because Isaac is a sane and well-adjusted human being, and then get our fourth hint to cut off the limbs. Dead Space, do you think I'm an idiot? Don't answer that. After getting lost in a dark room for a few minutes, we take an elevator to a power switch, so we turn the lights off to make the room even darker because it's not like I wanted to appreciate the fancy graphics anyways. We take an elevator and accidentally blow some people up because it's dark and we thought it was a sandwich, and then bring up an important question. So like, people totally piss in these, right? Like, these recycle bins are perfectly aligned for somebody who's just like bored. They'll just like piss in one just for fun.
Yeah, I don't see why not. No, they're definitely a bit too high. Look, man, not everybody has a dick as big as yours, alright?
After messing with the power again, a supervisor asks us nicely to stop doing that because it impedes productivity, so we murder them and get the tram back up and running and talk about the recycle bins some more. I'm not saying everybody pisses into the recycling bins, I'm just saying that, like, somebody would.
Yeah, I mean, when you're in, like, deep space for years at a time mining asteroids, somebody's daring somebody as a drunk bet to get that fucking... They're gonna piss in the recycling bin.
Blithering Idiot lets us know that the plan is to fix our ship and get the fuck out of Dodge, so we take an elevator to play peekaboo, but Isaac doesn't really understand the rules, so he shoots someone to death instead. We make it back to Cannon Fodder and let her know what's going on, but some people show up to the party, which exceeds the maximum occupancy for the ship. So it explodes, and Isaac flies out sideways somehow, despite that not really being how physics work. Next up, we've got to get to medical and find the dead captain and steal his Netflix password so we can binge the Great British Bake Off because chopping people up makes us hungry. We take an elevator and take a lift and find the gravity gun and then an actual gun that we're not going to be using for very long because it's way more efficient to just use the plasma cutter in this game because the ammo economy is a fucking joke and only wants to give me fucking ripper blades. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We come across a big-ass sensor square that just disappears when the animation is done because this is the most half-assed censorship feature ever put into a game. It's like watching Saw, but they cut out all the deaths, but then you still get to see the mangled corpses after they're done getting killed. After messing with the power, we take a lift and make it to the first zero-gravity area, which took me an unreasonably long time to get through in the original game, but luckily zero-G sequences are an absolute dog shit in the remake because they changed it to be more like the sequels. Thank God. We pick up some Mountain Dew to make a bomb with and head off to find some Wii remotes to strap to it. We take a lift to another sensor square and then another lift to a surgery in progress that we interrupt because we need to borrow their stuff to make a bomb, and then plant said bomb and then actually walk a safe distance away because in the original Isaac literally just stands in front of the thing as it goes off because he really didn't like OSHA telling him what to do. After messing with the power and stealing a battery, we witness another sensor square and a hallway explodes just to make sure we're still awake. So we take the elevator to the morgue and visit the captain, and this entire scene is censored except for Isaac, which is hilarious, especially because it immediately uncensors at the end of the cutscene just in time for us to shoot the captain into giblets. Blithering Idiot asks Isaac if he's doing okay, and Isaac lets him know that he's horny, so Blithering Idiot upgrades our security clearance and we take an elevator to where Blithering Idiot calls us again to let us know that the ship's engines are offline, so we're slowly drifting into the planet, which is bad because we're not Harrison Ford and that dramatically reduces our chances at surviving the crash, so we're headed to engineering to do some engineering on it. We get some more armor stapled onto us and take an elevator so we can float our way to Chapter 2, where we take an elevator to find the Ripper, which the game thinks is my favorite weapon, so it'll pretty much exclusively give me Ripper blades instead of plasma energy until I put it away. I am not repeating the same mistake as the original. We take an extremely slow tram ride We're really gonna do this again? It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. It's a small world. And get a little lost trying to mess with the power, but after turning off the lights and murdering some people who tried to prank us in the dark, we start the fueling sequence and take an extremely slow tram ride back. You know what time it is, Cross? It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. It's a small world. After turning on the second fueling thingy, we take an elevator and do the ritual dance that we've forgotten to do up until this point, and then never again, and then go through a really inconvenient decontamination sequence that's interrupted by evil babies. So it was kind of a waste of time anyways, considering we've got blood all over us now. We insert some phallic shapes in the centrifuge and start it back up, so we take a lift to our death because I'm really good at this game. We take a lift to the exit where we're grabbed by a big old tentacle arm, but unfortunately it's not the fun kind. So we shoot it into sushi and take an elevator to a dead guy that we give a hug, and then to a really loud room where we find the flamethrower that we're not going to be using for very long either. Oh, here's definitely where we're gonna get hugged by a random wall corpse, right? No? Really? Come on, where's the wall corpse? I mean, that's a wall corpse, but that's not what I mean. Come on, where is it? This one. Here. This one here, yeah. There we go. Hi.
What did that guy ever do to you, bruh?
He tried to jump scare me. He failed, but he tried.
Punishable by death.
Yeah, every single person who's ever jump scared me in my life is dead. We take a lift and shoot some goo and then get grabbed by these stupid little things that are basically just a punishment for people who don't like the letter E. After watching someone die, we stomp apart their corpse to make sure they're not faking and take a lift where we meet your mom, whom we murder with a saw blade so she retaliates by making us experience the letter E. We get punished by the letter E again and spit on, but Isaac isn't into that, so we try to kink shame the spitter and then this happens. Why did he drop it? What the shit was that? If you pick up an item and you press the shoot button, it's supposed to shoot forwards. Isaac decided, nah, let's fucking drop it. That's a good idea. What a fucking moron. After roasting your mom, we turn the engine on with absolutely no problems whatsoever. Oh, come on.
What part of the brain made you sit there?
Watch him spit at you until he got you eventually.
I didn't think he was gonna get me, because he kept spitting at the railing. Oh my god.
Like, is it the left or the right side of the brain that makes you gawk at danger?
It's the cast side of the brain.
Yeah, I don't know if you knew this, but flamethrower works better when you aim for the limbs.
Does it?
No, it's a fucking flamethrower.
Next on the list of shit that's going wrong, the big rock pew-pew guns are offline, and that's not good because if the ship gets holes blown into it, then everyone's gonna die because they're not wearing helmets, and Isaac will die 80 seconds later because his highly advanced spacesuit only has a minimal amount of oxygen when he's in a vacuum. I can hold my breath for longer than 80 seconds. We take the tram ride to a bridge and see some foreshadowing, and then take a lift down to the blithering idiot who's got our other pilot locked in a washing machine, so we set him on spin cycle and dump him into space because we can pilot on our own. How hard could it be? After listening to Isaac and the blithering idiot come up with a plan, we take a lift to that foreshadowing from earlier and kill it because it's in our way and no other reason because that's a good enough excuse. So we take an elevator and pick up another weapon that we're going to be putting away because it'd be stealing our ammo. After messing with some power nodes, we take an elevator and do the hokey pokey for a text log that I'm not going to read and watch a baby get fried in some lightning just in case you couldn't figure out that getting zapped with a shitload of electricity is bad for you. We slow down some tentacles because Isaac couldn't have been able to take them at full speed and then reroute some power that turns them off completely because he's actually a wimp and not into that kind of thing. We take an elevator and then take an elevator and then listen to a crew member ask us to make him whole before messing with some more power nodes to turn the asteroid cannons back online, but it turns out the targeting system is messed up and we've got to fix it. So we take an elevator to the exterior of the ship to target the cannons ourselves and help them relearn that the big floating rocks are bad and that they should shoot them. This section isn't exactly what I'd call great, but it sure beats sitting in a chair playing Duck Hunt for 5 minutes like the original. It's actually a clever way to keep us in full control of ourselves while also going through the same beats from the original game. We take an elevator and find a message from our future dead girlfriend that she's in medical, so we're headed back in that direction. After witnessing my favorite death animation, we take an elevator and then the tram to medical where we have a conversation with the doctor. Doctor Who. After shooting a stoppable force, we take a lift and complete a puzzle thing, and then take a lift to our future dead girlfriend, who it turns out is a trap. But not like that, she's literally a trap. We're frozen by Dr. Solo Cup, who has invented a super stasis that works completely differently than all the other stasis in the game somehow. And he monologues at us about markers, but Isaac isn't really artistically inclined, so Dr. Solo Cup walks off to let his minion handle us instead of just shooting us in the head while we're completely frozen. Brant jumps out to give us a hug, but we're not convinced that Brant is a real name, so we take an elevator, but it points us in the wrong direction, so we take an elevator back up and plug in a battery so we can fight another stoppable force and get another new gun that we're not going to be using. We find a guy who doesn't have a name, so his recovery isn't looking good, and he dies right after delivering crucial information, which is a surprise. Usually they die right before telling us something important. We find some poison gas and clear it out, but in order to get rid of the gas for sure, we've got to go find some liquid nitrogen and head down a hydrocity zone. Dr. Solo Cup monologues at us some more and sicks Brant on us again, but we freeze him to death, but that's okay, he'll recover. We take a tram and add more greebles to our soup before taking an elevator to the synthesizer and hydrocity zone to make an enzyme that we can use to stop the gas. We meet Lizzie, and she tells us that in order to do that, we've got to kill every member of the band Weezer, current and former. And also one other guy, because there's only 7 members of Weezer, but there's 8 Weezers, so I've got to stretch this joke a little further. And yeah, you heard me right, this section is doing the same thing 8 times in a row, so we're going to go through this really quickly. So we take a lift to kill Rivers Cuomo, and take a lift and kill Patrick Wilson, and take a lift and kill Brian Bell, and then Scott Schreiner, and then take a lift and kill Jason Cropper, and take a lift and kill Matt Sharp, and then get dragged by a tentacle, but we're busy, so we tell it to fuck off, and then take a lift and burn to death, and then take a lift to kill Mikey Welsh, and then take an elevator to kill Carl, which means we're finally done with that section. So we take an elevator to a lift, that we take 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 to an airlock, that leads us into a boss fight against a wall, so we leave just a memory by ejecting it into space, but that's okay, they'll recover. Now we're off to the mining deck to get an SOS beacon going, so we take an elevator to a very big lift, where we fight some people for sole use of the lift, because Isaac is a sociable and doesn't really know the proper etiquette of standing in an elevator with other people, and the thought of having to converse with strangers makes him itchy. We block some lasers and find a guy crawling on the floor who dies in front of us, so we stomp him into bits just to make sure he's not trying to go for our ankles by playing possum. After plugging in a battery, we take a lift to get punished by the letter E before getting to the asteroid thingy, but it won't work without proper authorization, so we take a lift to a larger lift to a room full of garbage that we throw into an extremely deadly garbage chute, and then take a larger lift where we get a glimpse of a big black marker that drives us crazy. It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. It's a small world. I am going to shoot myself. Who designed this shitty section? Why the fuck is it in the remake? They could have just not included it. We finally catch up to Isaac's future dead girlfriend, and the section is the world's lamest wave defense section, where you have to defend Nicole so she doesn't die, which is ironic considering the circumstances. Isaac's future dead girlfriend gets horny for murder, and we split off from her to grab the SOS beacon and take a lift to a larger lift so we can take a lift to the asteroid so we can take a lift, where we plug in a battery so we can take a lift and then slow down some tethers so we can get murdered by the asteroid mechanism a couple of times. Dead Space 2... Well, huh?
What? You just gotta find a better spot to fucking go.
That time the thing came around. We install the SOS beacon and take a lift so we can plug in a battery to take a lift to launch the asteroid. And Brand shows up again, so we manually force a door open and run away by taking a lift into a larger lift into an elevator that we take back down because that was the wrong way. We take a tram, and the wizard lets us know that a military ship was conveniently in the area for definitely no specific reason, but the communications aren't working, so we take an elevator to go fix it. Then we run out of ammo fighting enemies and have to take an elevator back up to the shop to buy a little amount of ammo with the cash we barely have, and then take an elevator back down, and we run out again, so we just run past the enemies instead. The comms array isn't working, but luckily it can be puzzled back together, so we spend the next 10 minutes floating around plugging in radar dishes with glowing shapes on them to complete the Watchdog circuit puzzle. We try to get into contact with the Valor, but the comm systems aren't working, and they let us know that they're going to try to open our washing machine, and that's bad because the cycle isn't done, and if they open it early, then they're going to die because that's just what happens when you open a washing machine early, right? At least that's what my mom tells me. Oh no. Oh, at least this one's fast. It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. It's a small world.
Man, I didn't know they made It's a Small World into a night core.
We take an elevator, but someone was already occupying it, so we murder them for our spot and head down to find out what's blocking up the comms array, and it turns out it's the wall part 2, so we tell it to leave them kids alone with absolutely no problems whatsoever. After defeating the wall, we activate comms just in time to watch everyone on the military ship die because of comedic timing. Wait, that might not be the right kind of timing to refer to mass murder. And then the ship crashes right into the Ishimura, but that's okay, that's only a minor inconvenience. We hatch a plan to steal the Valor's single lady core and rig it up to a smaller shuttle so we can escape because it'll just work like that. So we float over to the Valor, and Blithering Idiot tells us there's an unstable nuke on board, but in order to stabilize it, we've got to to make it through this section with no ammo because someone decided that the section will exclusively give ammo for the assault rifle that we're not using, despite the fact that I explicitly removed all other weapons from my inventory so the game would only give me plasma cutter ammo.
Will forgets how to stomp colorized.
Stomp does not do a bunch of damage, dude. I already tried that earlier. It barely did anything. So I haven't fucking bothered, because it's not worth it. I'll just take a bunch of damage. Contrary to popular belief, I do know what I'm doing.
I have a brilliant idea.
I can just lock him in here.
Yeah, for real.
Oh, come on, door! Really? Come on, come on, come on, come on. Damn it! Yes!
Oh yeah, baby!
Ammo! Holy fuck, that was stupid. Cool, what am I gonna do with the last one? Oh my god, there's a bunch of them in there. I'm fucked. Let's see if I can out-derp the enemy. No.
He hit you with his little nubbins and your fucking legs came off.
So you see why I wasn't just trying to stomp the enemy? You see now that I know what I'm fucking doing and that this just sucks? Battery, please.
Oh no!
At least I've got one of these. I don't think this is going to be helpful. Oh, it actually worked. Shoot an arm off of them. Yeah, you know I can't shoot the arm off when I don't have any ammo. I have ammo now, which is why I shot an arm off to hit them. You know, because I know how to play the game. We take an elevator and meet Terry, who wants to talk about markers, but we're not interested, so we hang up on it. Then we blow up the nuke room twice because I'm stupid, and then eject the nuke, but then it shows up again repeatedly.
Where's the fucking nuke back?
What?
Huh?
I don't know. So, this is a bug, right?
Yeah, there's no way it's not a bug.
Just a second nuke? Because I saved after we did the nuke, right?
Yeah, it's where you keep spawning back at.
Did it?
No, it should be right there on the floor where the Twitcher, or not the Twitcher room.
Look in the middle of the room.
Oh my god. What the fuck, bro?
Well, it's gone.
Is it back? Is it back? Hey, it's back!
What the hell? We meet a guy showing off his leg and then struggle through a laser room with no ammo. After getting electrified, we make our way through some fire and I break some more stuff.
You are fucking insane.
What? Is that not the correct way to do that?
Obviously it is, because you fucking did it.
What's the way you did it?
Not going through the fire. Yeah, there's the fall. What the fuck is that shit?
I'm pretty sure this is still gonna kill me. Oh, no, maybe not.
That is fucking horseshit. What is wrong with your fucking video game?
Oh, man. It just works. Oh, these are broken
It's
too.
the fucking box, dude.
The box is creating like a field. No fucking way. What?
Yo, you gotta take that thing with you to the end of the game.
What did I do? We turn off the fire suppression system and get jumped by the arson enthusiast who had turned it off in the first place. We murder them and catch up to Blithering Idiot, who lives up to his name by getting stabbed because he's getting a disfigured monster zombie mixed up with Chen, the pilot from the beginning. I mean, it is Chen, but like, come on, man. You can't tell the difference between a regular Asian person and a grotesque monster? That's racist. We collect the single lady core, and now the Valor is going to explode, so we take the opportunity to leisurely take a selfie and take an elevator to the exit, where we'll blow out of the airlock and tumble gently through space and back to the Ishimura. And now we're off to the crew deck, so we take an elevator to a lift that we take to a room full of dead bodies. Oh, I know what this is. This is the part where I get to stomp all the bodies. Yeah. Oh no. We couldn't save them. If only there was something I could have done. I'm so stricken with grief over these dead bodies. I said I wasn't going to do this joke. But I had to do it like once, right? Like, and this is the perfect spot. Like, Isaac is a clearly sane and well-adjusted person. Normal people would do this. This is a thing normal people do. After playing some royalty-free basketball, we take a lift and then take a lift to an elevator where we catch back up with Dr. Solo Cup, who shoots a guy named Temple in the temple. Well, it's more like generally his entire head, but it's all gone, so it's close enough to be ironic. Guess who's back? Back again. Brant is back. Tell a friend. They'll probably ask you what the fuck you're talking about. We take a lift and some corpses start talking to us, which is definitely normal, and Isaac is clearly still okay. And we change into the Uber Greeble suit, which is the final level of Greebles that you can acquire on this suit. After removing the barricade to a room, we shoot some stoppable forces and become Dr. Pimple Popper because this section is just shooting those things 4 times. So we take a lift to another pimple, and then another pimple. And then meet back up with Terry, who lets us know that we can't leave without fighting the final boss, so we've got to make preparations to do that first. We pop the final pimple and take a lift onto the big black marker, and our next objective is to... Okay, so this section is significantly shorter. Oh god! Isaac! Jesus Christ!
Why did you do that? Why did you do that, Will?
I blame Isaac, not myself. So we attach the single lady core and test fire it, and Brant shows up, so we turn him into a barbecue and get dragged off by a tentacle that kindly lets us watch Dr. Solo Cup's death scene before it drags us all the way out of the room. And then this happens. Can I aim yet?
You don't have ammo.
So what now? Do I just lose?
Are you just fucked?
What now? There's literally nothing I could have done. Yeah, I can't reload. I have no ammo.
Do you have to just reload a save?
I can't grab anything. Did I discover a fucking soft lock that they didn't account for?
Oh my god, that's great.
I literally just have to reload a save. Holy shit. And I didn't just save, which means I'm gonna lose some time. Hooray. Oh, there's an autosave. Oh no, that autosave is there. Wow, how monumentally fucking stupid. Literally all you have to do for that section is give the player some ammo to guarantee that they don't get soft locked. Wow. How did that not come up in testing? That's gotta be one of the easiest things to test for. It's like, hey, how does this section run if the player has no fucking ammo? Good God. What a fucking joke.
Will is the edge state the developers hate? Yeah.
That's not a fucking edge state. That is totally plausible to happen to anybody. That is a normal gameplay thing. That's not some weird bug or like situation that nobody would ever get into. You either have ammo or you don't. And the fact that the section doesn't work if you don't have ammo is fucking stupid. Now we've got to grab a marker in the cargo bay, so we take a tram to a lift to the marker room, which marks the start of the glorified escort section of the game. Ugh. I can already tell this part's going to be just as fun as the original. This took me many tries. After moving the marker down to the hangar bay, we take a lift to an elevator to the escape ship, but it gets locked down for a surprise party, but Isaac's not into surprises, so we murder everyone in the room instead. We load the marker up into the ship, and Terry gets shot by the wizard, and she escapes in the ship without us. And now it's exposition time, because the writers couldn't figure out a better way to get all of this information out in a natural way, so the big reveal is all right now. Here's the cliff notes. The marker is man-made. Daniels knew the whole time. It was based off of an alien marker found on Earth that inspired unitology and was buried in Aegis 7, so nobody would find it, but then somebody found it. And now Daniels is going to hide its existence again, but we've got to bring the marker back to the planet to, they kinda don't explain why. Even in the remake, when they could have finally taken the opportunity to fill us in on why it's important that the marker is returned, they don't. So just give it your best guess in the comment section. Hey, Kine, you alright? Yeah, you can walk it off. Then Isaac's future dead girlfriend conveniently chimes in that she's got a solution that can bring the ship back and we can return the marker to the planet to make everyone whole. And he decides that that's the person he wants to trust because the power of being horny supersedes all sense of logic. Isaac's future dead girlfriend gives us some words of encouragement and reassures us that bringing the marker back to the planet is the right thing and it wants that. But also that everything is still going to try to kill us on the way there. I said the thing! So now it's time for an escort quest where we bring the marker really slowly back to its pedestal and it gives us a migraine. Shoots a beam into the sky, which does fucking something, I don't know. But the big chunk of the planet is going to fall back into the planet, and that's bad for surviving, so we try to get the tethers back online, but surprise, the wizard is here, and she takes our future dead girlfriend hostage and forces us to watch that video message that we were listening to at the beginning of the game, where it's revealed that Nicole was actually dead from the beginning, and Isaac knew the whole time. The person we thought was Nicole was actually Miss Lizzie from the Hydrocity Zone section of the game the whole time. She thought we were just someone else the whole time, too. Does anyone else feel like this makes less sense than Nicole just being a force ghost like in the original? Anyways, the wizard kills Miss Lizzie and steals the marker back, but we catch up to her before she gets away, and she's smashed to death by the final boss, and now we can finally fight it, and it sucks just as much as the original. Cool, I love that I have nowhere to dodge. And now I have to start the whole boss fight over.
Oh, great.
Yeah, isn't that wonderful? This is a great boss fight. It's just as bad as the original. So we take off without the marker and the planet gets destroyed by the chunk, and isn't that exactly what Daniels wanted to happen in the first place? Isaac takes off his helmet and takes a breather, but then gets jump scared by his dead girlfriend, and that's the end of the game. Game over. If you don't eat your meat, you can't have any pudding. How can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? The marker is man-made, Daniels knew the whole time. Fuck you and your stupid small dick.